Hello, my friends. Hopefully, you're all having a good day. What I'm going to show you today is a useful tip for admin in your runtime library. Now, I know that admin sounds awfully boring, but if you think about it, you spend an awful lot of your time operating inside the library. Here we've got characters, props, poses, so on, yeah? And probably 50 or 60% of your time is spent in this area. So it should be organized according to your convenience. So let me just show you a little tip. So what we have here is a male slave, and in props, I have this product from Davo called Basic Cuffs. And I'm just going to apply some cuffs here. So I'm just going to drag this halfway off the screen, and I'm just going to apply foot right, and we'll just do the neck. I'm just dragging and dropping into the scene here, and I've got the same for Victoria 4. I didn't say that, I'd have used her. And we've got what have we got? Hands, I guess. Where's hands? There we go, hands, like this. Okay, so that's in props. When you install the product, it installs this folder into your runtime called Davo Basic Cuffs, but it also installs into your poses. It installs a product called Davo Basic Iron Cuffs, and when you apply these, they give you the control to make these little loops disappear. See, there's 4 loops around these cuffs, and very rarely do you want all 4 loops showing. Usually you'll just want 1 or 2 linked together, maybe against a dungeon wall or against each other, and you don't want the others. They kind of make it look a bit silly. So what we have here is visibility things to hide some of the loops. So what have we got? We've got a right foot here. So let's do right foot show all, right foot hide all. So let's do right foot hide all. And that's made all of those loops disappear. But the problem is to find that when you first install a product, it's installed it into the poses library. Now, you might think to yourself, well, that's easy enough. I've installed it in props, and then I go looking for this folder called Davo Basic Iron Cuffs in Poses. But very often this folder won't be so logically named. And then you end up looking all over the place. So you can have a character with something, especially with buildings, you can have a character, you can have a pose library, you can have a material library, and you can have a props library, all for a single character. And it becomes a real pain in the butt chasing them down. So here's what I recommend you do. If you go into Windows Explorer, you'll see, so I'm on Windows 10, you'll find your Poser runtime. So in my case, it's inside Poser 6. In your case, it'll probably be either in Program File Smith Micro, and then the version of Poser that you're using. So I've got Smith Micro and then the version of Poser you're using, or Poser Software, which is where the Bondware version goes, which is down here. It will probably be on your C drive, but on my drive it's on D, because I keep all of my programs on the D drive. Doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Poser folder. Then I'm going to look inside for runtime, look inside for library. So I'm recursively going down through these different folders. And then inside libraries, I'm looking for whichever libraries I'm going to work in. So on this side, so I'm going to move between the two sides. So on this side, I'm going to go to my runtime libraries pose, and I'm going to find the product, Davo. I'm going to find Basic Iron Cuffs. Then on this side, I'm going to find libraries, props, and then wherever I want that to go. Now, in my case, I have props subdivided here into props, and then there's a dungeon subdivision somewhere, and then chains, cuffs, ropes, blah, 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 blah. But first of all, I'd start on the top level, props, and then oh, actually no, I've already moved it into there. Right. So I already dragged the folder from props into this dungeon folder, if I can find it. Here. And then into chains, ropes, cuffs, and manacles, and then it's in probably manacles, shackles, and manacles. Let me have a look. Basic iron cuffs. And then what I can do is I can just rename this one visibility, for example, and drag that folder into that side. And the great thing about Poser is that so long as you're within one of the basic pose folders, so the library folders are character, the poses, faces, hair, hands, props, lights, cameras, materials, and scene. So as long as you drag into one of those, however many there are, what, 8, 9, 3, 6, 9, 10, into one of those 10 folders inside your libraries, it doesn't matter which library they're in. It doesn't know, it doesn't care that a pose is in a props folder or whatever. So now what we have is just a single folder here called Davo Basic Iron Cuffs, and when I go into my library, if I go to props here and Basic Iron Cuffs, in actual fact I've dragged it into the wrong one, but it doesn't matter, and I can go to props, Law and Order, change manacles, blah blah blah, and then I can go down to here and I've got my Basic Iron Cuffs, and if I look inside you don't see it, and that's because I need to refresh the folder. And then I just click refresh, which takes a moment, or 6 or 50. Depending on the size of your runtime, this refresh can actually take quite a long time to do. Usually there's a little whirling wheel showing that it's refreshing. Let me just make sure I click that. Oh, there we go. And now I've got a new folder called Visibility, and inside is that stuff that I just did there. So that's a great way to just group everything, even when it's poses. It's far easier to have all of the things pertaining to that product in the products folder. So if it's a character, put everything in the character folder, whatever the most important part is. So if it's a building, you might have lots of props of chairs and furniture and food and goodness knows what. If it's a person, you might have clothes or pose props, all of that kind of stuff. Just put it into the root level for that product, and then it just makes it much easier. So then when I come to apply this, I just apply a manacle here, which is not showing at the moment, and then in the same folder I've got visibility, and it stops me having to jump around between categories, just keeps it easier. Anyway guys, hopefully you found that useful, and I will speak to you later.